This video is brought to you by R4P3.net. This video is about choosing the right programming language. How will you be developing your solutions? Let's go on. So you need to ask yourself the research questions. That's who, what, where, when, why, and lastly, I'd like to add in how. So let's start off from the bottom just to confuse you. How much time do you have to dedicate? How much time are you willing to put in towards learning or working on a project? Are you going to be working on a solution for yourself, or is it going to be for other people? And then what is your solution going to do? Where are your solutions, or where will your solution run? Is it going to run on a server, just on your own personal machine? And when do you want to finish the project? Lastly, why do you even want to start the project? Is it just something that you want to do just because? Or are you solving a problem for your friends and many other people? Because there's a really good feeling you get about making a program that a bunch of people start using and go, wow, this is awesome, I love this, and you're the person that made it. So you can basically solve problems for a lot of other people, and when you publish that application and everybody uses it, you feel good about yourself. It's kind of like helping people. It makes you feel good. Now, in order to get into the right language or languages, you need to profile yourself. And importantly, you need to start. So you need to know what type of person are you. Are you more into reverse engineering? Do you like taking things apart? Do you like breaking apart things and maybe looking into the science and math and everything behind how a program runs, and then do you want to take that and rebuild that? Or do you want to change the way something behaves in proprietary software? Maybe reverse engineering is the right area for you to get involved with. There's also websites, though. Website and mobile development is big. So if you're looking to get into mobile development, maybe make applications for an Android device or iOS, an Apple device, go ahead and search into those areas. But working on websites, I've found that starting with the foundations is a great way to begin. So you need to learn HTML and JavaScript. Those are two really important things to learn. And you're also going to maybe want to look into CSS, because CSS is really important for styling and designing websites. But if you're not too much of a designer or art type person, don't worry too much about that, because there are templates, there's themes out there, there's even Bootstrap, which is a user interface framework. So you don't need to worry a whole lot about about the CSS if you don't want to, but it's not bad to have an understanding of at least how that works. And then you're going to want to pick a server-side language, such as PHP, Ruby, Python, Perl. There's other server-side languages you can choose from. Go search up one and find the right one for you. There's got to be one that just clicks with you. Maybe you look up PHP and find certain forums online where people discuss developing with that language. Or maybe you're more of a Python person, or maybe you already know some Python, so that's the language you're going to choose. Either way, you need to stick with a server-side language and really develop a strong understanding, a good feeling about that language, and grow with it. Because there's going to be that server-side language that you pick and you just really love it. But don't be afraid, though, too, to try out different server-side languages to see if there's a better one for you than what you currently are using. And be looking at security. Don't forget about security when you're learning how to program, or maybe you're in the middle of developing a project and you just seen this video just now, or you're just now watching it and you're thinking, hey, I haven't really thought about the security of my project. So, I mean, prepared statements with SQL, preventing XSS, CSRF. I mean, there's a bunch of different type of vulnerabilities out there for web-based applications, and there's also coding standards that you can implement for other applications. Like if you're making an executable, maybe you're working in the C or C++ language, and you want to better understand the security risks, well, there is a cert out there that you can get. There's certifications out there for secure software development. So maybe look into what those certs teach and consider learning about that. So, I mean, you're going to want to know what vulnerabilities are commonly seen in the types of projects that you're working on. Are you making a project that utilizes a lot of database inputs? If you are, again, like I mentioned, prepared statements. If you're working with PHP, go read up on PHP prepared statements SQL. This is going to make you a stronger developer. It's going to make you less likely to have your project or solution hacked. And that's the most important thing. So then you need to also understand, or at least consider, how are you going to deploy your solution? Is there going to be an automatic update that will be sent through? And then you also need to realize that there could be security risks with sending automatic updates. So consider how you're going to secure automatic updates, and make sure that if you're connecting to a database, or maybe you need to have a user set up, consider the permissions, and you need to be validating and sanitizing any inputs in your solutions everywhere. You also need a server sometimes for applications. Are you going to host with a provider that is secure? Do they take security seriously? If not, maybe choose a different one. And then you also need to know what software is going to be used for the deployment of your application. Are you going to have different server software running, like Apache or Nginx? And then, once you figure out what secure options you will go with, you should also have a plan. So, for example, if you install software, are you going to update that software? And we're coming up on the end here, but you need to definitely be using tutorials, reading articles, and the most important thing about picking a language and learning it is to really have fun with it. So you can get frustrated at times. You're going to be debugging or testing some things that you don't absolutely get, you don't fully understand, and especially when the documentation is poor, you're going to want to be ripping your hair out. When you get it, though, when you understand what you're trying to do and it works, there is such a sign of relief, and such a feeling of relief. You're going to feel so great and accomplished. So I like to think of programming as solving a puzzle, and there's got to be some sort of problem out there, or someone wants something to do something, and how can you make that happen? When you figure it all out and you have something ready to publish or deploy to get your solution out there, you have solved the puzzle. The problem is fixed by you. So you ultimately are a problem solver, and eventually, if you make programs well and you get them out there, you can be an expert of solutions to problems. You can basically be an expert problem solver, and that's a really good feeling. So I also have to say that you should start today. Don't delay. Don't postpone. As soon as you get this, as soon as you're watching this and you're slightly, even maybe just a little bit interested in programming, just start working on something, or at least begin learning. Sit down with a tutorial or go through an article and get your interest sparked. Really think about, hey, I can make really cool things. And you should schedule a certain amount of your day, or each week maybe an amount of time that you're willing to dedicate specifically to programming, whether that's learning or actually making something. You need to spend your time either learning or developing, and that's going to change. Once you learn more, maybe you'll spend more time developing, or maybe you already have learned a lot, so you're just going to start off putting more time towards developing things because you already have some things learned. Or maybe you're going to decide to take a break from developing for a while and start learning more than you develop. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I guess my question is, what is stopping you today? There's nothing stopping you from learning how to program. There shouldn't be anyways. And maybe you're just not as active in developing projects as you want to be. So what's stopping you? So get involved more, develop more, get more done, and really think about what you can learn and all of the options out there for you. and pick something and just start right now, today. I'm challenging you to start programming right now. Just go and do it. Check out the links in the description.